Hi, my name is Cheryl, and I am a very late diagnosed autistic person, diagnosed at the age of 58. Today, I'd like to talk about the levels of autism because there seems to be a little bit of confusion surrounding that subject. I know when I first got diagnosed, I gradually told people, the ones closest to me, and then I kind of moved out. When I told my sister, she was so honest and very kind and very compassionate. And she said, that might explain why when we were on trips, because we moved from Massachusetts to Florida, and then we would go back every summer to visit our relatives, and there were 3 of us and then eventually 4 of us in the back seat, and I would constantly say, "Quit touching me." I did not like them touching me, which was kind of hard to avoid because we were all crammed back there. But she said, that might explain why you said that. And she said, I imagine you're probably on the low end of the spectrum because you function well and it's not 100% detectable. Well, I at first started saying, remember Asperger's? That's pretty much what I have is Asperger's. But I have switched to saying level 1 autism, which is really my diagnosis. Let me explain why. Asperger's had a very short-lived stay in the DSM-5, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Illness, which autism is not a mental illness. It's a neurodivergency. We're wired differently. But anyway, the reason I would say that is because it's kind of dissociated from the autism diagnosis. And I don't know. It felt better saying that than autism. I think I was embarrassed a little bit. But now I'm adamant about using the autism diagnosis, and I'll tell you why. Asperger's was taken out of the DSM in 2013, and I'm going to read to you why, quoting Healthline. The main reason Asperger's is no longer a diagnosis is because it's difficult to clearly differentiate it from autism spectrum disorder, ASD, reliably or with certainty. The symptoms of Asperger's were often indistinguishable from ASD, requiring minimal support, known as ASD level 1. Indistinguishable. So what that means is no matter what level you're on, level 1 being minimal support, level 2 meaning substantial support, level 3 meaning very substantial support, no matter what your level, you have certain common symptoms and traits. And I'm about to tell you what those are. And that's why it was taken out of the DSM, by the way. Anxiety. I have been riddled with anxiety ever since I was 6 years old, if you can imagine a 6-year-old with major anxiety. Depression, mostly because I'm so anxious, I can barely function. I've had sleep issues ever since I was little. Sensory sensitivities. So can you imagine trying to be in the workplace and cover up your sensory sensitivities? There's a blinking light over here. Oh my gosh, you can't handle it. There's somebody sniffling and sneezing over here, or clicking with their tongue, or there's a clock ticking, or a faucet dripping, or maybe they have perfume, or, there are all kinds of sensory things coming at you, and you're just sitting there trying to look professional when you feel like you're swatting flies. It's very challenging. No matter what level you're on, you deal with repetitive behaviors. Now, this is where the IQ, some people relate levels to IQ. I said it was indirectly involved. So everyone with autism has repetitive behaviors. I do, sometimes outwardly, but levels 2 and 3 have a hard time covering that up. Level 1s understand that if we say the same thing over and over, or do the same things over and over, it's going to get attention. So what we do is we say things in our heads over and over. That's called rumination. That can drive you crazy. We are programmed to find solutions to problems. And when we have an issue that doesn't have a solution, that will never leave our brain. I mean that, never. It can drive you insane. We also have auditory processing disorder, which I struggle with. Many of us have ADHD, lots of medical issues, emotional sensitivity. It used to be thought that people on the autism spectrum didn't have empathy. Now it's found that we have more empathy than most people. Emotional dysregulation. So many emotions going on and overwhelm all the time. It's hard to regulate your emotions. This leads to burnouts and meltdowns. We also tend to be pleasers, sometimes not even realizing what we're doing. This morning, I was putting my belt on and I tried to cinch it one hole closer because I wanted to look like my stomach was flatter. I mean, who am I trying to impress? Anyway, we're perfectionists. Sometimes we have issues surrounding eating. We have trouble understanding facial expressions and tones of voice. These cause us a lot of stress. And so now, hopefully, you have a better understanding of the levels and of the fact that regardless of your level, we have certain traits and symptoms in common. And I heard a really great analogy, and it was of a duck. You know, you see a duck kind of, let me see if I can make a little duck, floating along on the water, seemingly, you know, just nice and smooth, but underneath his little legs are paddling. And that is just so accurate. And that's why I'm choosing to use the label Level 1 Autism, because I want people to know that even though I look like I have it together on the outside, I struggle quite a bit on the inside. All right, I hope that helps.